Hey guys, what is up? So this is a new episode, so thank you so much for checking this out. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Here's a clip first, and then we'll go right into the podcast. I like this video. I found this on the internets. It was pretty funny to me. Hope you guys like it. Don't eat bats, please. Stop eating bats. Like, let's get this shit over with. Yeah.
Yeah. So seductive. I take you to the candy shop. I let you lick the lollipop. Go ahead, girl, don't you?
All right, guys. Hey, what is going on? So this is a new episode of The John Show with your host, John D. Clouser. What is up, guys? I hope you're doing swell. It's another week of Corona, I guess. And what's so funny about talking about that is that right before I started this podcast, I started listening to another podcast just because I was getting all the lights set up and everything like that. And it was talking about Corona. And they're like, well, we just don't know what it is. We just don't know what it is. I'm like, this is great. This is exactly what I should be listening to right before I do a podcast by myself, in a studio by myself, with my thoughts by myself. So, it's a really I'm like, wow, this is going to really kill everything that I have, all that fun momentum I had that I wanted to talk about. But yeah, so we're here on episode 7 of another podcast. It's like, oh gosh, I'm doing it. I'm getting her done. It's like it sometimes like pulling teeth for me to start this because I'm always like, okay, I got the lights all set up. What else can I do? Okay, I got the audio stuff all set up, and then what can I do after that? Well, then I should clear off some space off of my laptop. Then I should probably like sweep. Then I should probably brush my teeth again, and then I should probably fool around and get all the pictures off my phone, which I had almost 30 gigs of photos on my cell phone that was just eating up space, where I'm like, this is dumb to have all this space being eaten up for something that it's used once or twice. And so it's a weird thing. Like, I like to hoard pictures and memes and videos, and I just eat up all my space with that stupid crap instead of using it for like shooting more video stuff, which is another thing. So like, I've been spending all day trying to I shoot another podcast, the Aaron and John Show. We should also check out. Comes out every Thursday, and on that one, I don't use the same cameras I'm using right now. I use my iPhone because I just wanted to try it out because I have the newer iPhone. I just wanted to see how the video aspect works with all the lighting and everything like that. And so I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be really fun. It is so fucking hard to export that thing from my phone onto any sort of like equipment. It is such a hard task. Like, every week it's something different. So like, I try to do an airdrop, and when I do airdrop is you basically just connect through Wi-Fi, like everything on the network that's connected to you, like your laptop or my desktop. This back here is connected with the Apple, or it was connected like through my iThing. And the reason I just messed up right there because I was like thinking like, did I set the timer for my thing for unlimited, like so my laptop doesn't go to sleep or my desktop doesn't go to sleep? And so you use that, and so most of the time it works fine. Or what you can do is you can do a hardwire like it is right now, basically just like plug it in, but every time I do that, it always says it's corrupt. And so the file it says the file is corrupt. But I also think it's because it's like over an hour long. So I'm sure it's just such a big file, and it's shot in 4K because I'm a fucking asshole. And so like, it's probably something like that. And then when I do airdrop this past week, it's been taking forever. It's like saying that it has to convert, and it's been like 30 minutes, and it's only like gone a small amount. And I'm just like, God dang it. Like, it's like, why can't this stuff ever be easy? And then when I use my Canon, I push record. I know I can shoot for 30 minutes, take it out, done. Sync up the video with the audio, boom, boost up the levels, boost up the sound, and then I export. It's super easy. And like, what's so funny is like the last file that I made with my iPhone. The end up like exporting file ended up being almost 100 gigs. It was ridiculous. And then like what I do is then I export it again and I put it to 1080 and it drops it down to like maybe like 3 gigs. And then I get rid of the other one. But it's like, dear God, like it's such a hassle. It's like, and I'm like, I'm going to have to go spend another, I'm going to put it in my budget, or I like to spend another $300 on just on storage to have more storage. And because I've already eaten up, I got a 4 terabyte drive and I've already eaten up. That took like 4 months to do. It was not that much. And it's just a lot of bullshit, but it's the brain. It's called the brain. And it consists of all of the major like files that I need that I've always wanted to keep. And then like, that's my big backup. And then I have like 8 other hard drives that are spread out to like be like for pictures, then for like video stuff, for audio stuff, for projects and like gigs that I have. And so it's a crazy thing. And like, I don't even know if anyone cares about this, but this is just film talk. But it's like eating up. So I'm having to get more hard drives. So like I'm putting in my budget, my little film budget, $300, and then like I end up writing that stuff off. Because one of the great things is like if you get an LLC, you can use that as a way of writing stuff off. And so when you give your accountant, as long as you have everything in like monthly order, that's what I do. I just give it to my accountant, and my accountant just like writes it off, and we do go from there. It's pretty good. It's pretty fun stuff. It's we figure out a way to get it done, and so it's like 3:00 in the afternoon, and I'm drinking a beer. But this is the last beer I have in my refrigerator, because we did a podcast last night and we usually drink like 3 each. Like I don't feel like an asshole if I'm with somebody and I drink a couple beers. I don't feel bad. But when I'm by myself, I'm like, John, you can only drink like 2, and after that, like you're kind of a dick if you drink anything else. If you drink more than that, or I'd give myself like 2. Like if there's like a glass, I fill about like that much up with alcohol and a little bit of chaser, gin and tonic usually most of the time, and so I'll give myself 2 of those, and that tends to be like the equivalent of like maybe like 4 beers, I would assume. And but yeah, it's with alcohol, I'm just like never. I'm like, I'm just so scared of getting sick. A lot of things, like I don't eat seafood because I'm super scared of getting sick off of it. I don't eat chicken because I'm super scared of getting sick off of it. I don't drink a lot because I'm super sick. I'm super scared I'm getting sick off of it. It's just a lot of my life has consisted of living like making sure I don't get myself sick, and like having a good immune system. And like what's so crazy right now is I've been taking 1-a-day vitamins, 3,000 milligrams of fish oil, and a D3 for immune system, your bones and your teeth and your eyes. And well, anyway, so with the 1-a-day vitamin, that pretty much covers all your essential vitamins that you need in a day. Quote, it's supposed to. And I accidentally bought the one that's supposed to be for like senior citizens, like the 50 plus. And I'm like, I don't know if I should be taking these, but I'm like, I'm sure that if it's probably has more stuff than I need, and I'm sure it can only help. And what I've been doing is I'll set an alarm on my watch for every 20 minutes and 30 seconds to drink a little bit of water. I pee all day. I am literally in the bathroom every hour on the hour peeing. And but I feel like if I do this, I'm keeping myself hydrated. I'm keeping that engine nice and clean. That I'll be good. That's my way of fighting all this. And I'm doing like a home exercise, and I'll literally I have 2 20-pound dumbbells, and I have a yoga mat, and I do jumping jacks. I do push-ups, lunges, and I do crunches or bicycle kicks, and I do that 4 times for 40 minutes straight, nonstop. And of course, like you build yourself up to it. Like at the first time I did it, I couldn't do it for 40 minutes straight. I had to take breaks, but then you just do it. And so like sometimes you'll do like 8 jumping jacks versus sometimes you'll do like 25 jumping jacks. And it's just like all you're doing is just trying to get yourself really warm. And if it's warm outside, like the other day it was 83 degrees, so I just put a hoodie on, and like I put some long pants on, some long compression pants, some long socks. Then I put some athletic pants over those. And then I just went outside. I just did the same thing outside. just so I can sweat. Like the big thing is like for me, I think right now, especially with all this like Corona stuff, is to get a lot of heat proteins, and heat proteins will make, when you sweat, that's what you are releasing, and it helps with you. It helps your body in situation of stress. So if you get sick or something like that, your body's like, okay, well, we've been here before, because we have all these heat proteins all the time. Like we're always in this sense of dire need. Like, so if you do like the sauna, you get that. Like, if you do like long runs, you get that. If you do like cryogenic therapy, you get it as well. Those are cold proteins, but it's equivalent to the same thing. And so I think that's like what's super, super important right now, and like not blowing myself out. And then, but yeah, I've been using my 25-pound dumbbells as, just normal dumbbells. I've used it as a kettlebell because it's super light. It's light enough for me, and it's small enough where I can lift it up. I can do all these movements, and it's just enough weight where it's like enough resistance coming down for me. And it's at least causing some sort of stress, small sort of stress. It's nothing crazy, but like I figure like out of this, I'm gonna get like some sort of Jesus ripped. That's the goal. Like I'm like, I can't allow this. Like I have to keep my sanity through this thing, because it's like everyone. It's weird. It's such a weird time, because it's just, we don't know what it is. We're just sitting here just waiting. Like, okay, can we go? Is it? It's another week done. Like, can we go back to normal stuff now, or is it just? It's just how it is. Is this how it's going to be for a little bit longer? But I hope you guys are all doing well. Like, I really do, because the thing is, all it is just day at a time, day at a time. And the thing is, like, what's so crazy for me is like my third worldness comes into play right here. I'm like, okay, well, like this is just like back when you were in Honduras. So just rocking, rolling, just kind of. Every day is a new day. You're glad that you're past that, and now you just move on. But it's interesting. So like well, let's see here. I always write down a list of stuff I would like to talk about, or like things that, like, just in case if I run out of like a spurt, I can go to this and I can like talk about something. So I was talking to one of my really good friends the other day, and I kind of went on this like large rant about like these stories I have, and I started telling her all these random stories. So I thought she's like, you should do that for your podcast that you do by yourself, because that's something that people would want to listen. They would want to listen to and hear, is like these random funny little stories that you have. I guess she laughed at them. I guess it was what it is. But so I thought I would tell some little random stories, or I would tell one story, eat up some time, and it'll be kind of like a little segment that we have on this small little 30-minute podcast, which if you haven't yet, you should like, comment, and subscribe. And what's so cool is when you do that, you also, I'm like, my back is so sore from doing these like standing lunges and doing these like these weird little deadlifts. Whenever I do any like Roman style deadlifts, my lower back, my upper glutes always get super sore, and I think that's just because they're weak. I think that's really what it is. My body's just like, and then I stopped doing them because my body's like, well, it hurts. Like, why are we doing this? But I thought I would tell these little stories, and yeah. And so I guess this one is really random. I thought it was funny, but so I was 24 at the time. I was living in Los Angeles, California, on Sunset and Crescent Heights at the moment, right in the middle of like where all the Jews live. I lived right by a synagogue. It was fucking awesome, especially being someone who believes in the Jewish faith. It's really awesome to be that close. And it was way before like now, like if you go there, and you're walking down the street, people are like, they're asking if you're Jewish. It's because they need 10 guys to like start a prayer. It's just a Jewish thing. And then it's also really funny too, because, the Sabbath is on the sunset of Friday, and then to the sunset of Saturday. And it's basically like a day of like, you can't do anything. All you're supposed to really do is just be a day of rest. And so you can't use any electronics. You can't use any lights. And like really funny is like there's always ways they find loopholes. So you'd pay somebody if you're super religious into this. Like I was never into it like that hardcore. But you would have someone come and you'd pay them you'd pay them to turn the lights on for you, or they turn the lights off for you, those kind of things. And like you'd end up like giving them like a month's stipend and be like, okay, this is what I need. But every like Friday to Saturday, I need you to come over here and maybe do something for me. That's it. It's really an interesting thing. It's like it's really a lot of BS for stuff, and then like you're not supposed to eat shellfish, and then Passover was this past week, and it's just it's very interesting. But what's so cool about my family is that growing up, my family was like super into like having you choose like what you ever want to believe. So I grew up with a Bible, a Quran, and a Torah in the house. And at any time, I would like if I had I could read them, and I'd pick them up, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like, what's cool about the Torah and the Quran was that it was two parts. It was like one in Hebrew and then one in English, and the other one was in Arabic and then in English. So you got to see like you can connect them both. You can see like how each one is connected to the same thing. I thought it was kind of cool like that. But like and at any time, I would go and ask my parents a question, like, and my parents were so knowledgeable about all of it too, which was very awesome to have that as like sources, especially because like the internet was just coming up, and then like to know that like your parent, like having parents that were like so well rounded culturally in that sense that you were able to just learn a lot more, a lot faster. But let's see here, and so yeah, like I grew up with all that stuff in the house, but anyway, so I was living. That was like a little side story to like going back to like my main story. So I was living on Sunset and Crescent Heights at this time, and I had moved there because I was living in a house in Beverly Hills with a girl that I was in a relationship with for about like close to 7 years. And once we broke up, like I was like, well, I kind of like this area because Sunset and Crescent Heights and like Sunset and Fairfax, all that area is right where like you turn off and you can go up into Beverly Hills. So I was basically going to move up from the hills just down to the bottom of the hill. That was the plan. And so I found a pretty good place. I was paying like $500 a month on Sunset and Crescent Heights, and that's fucking crazy for being in the Jew area part of town. It's never ever that cheap ever. But I had a good buddy who just basically wanted to have people live in with him because he rented a 3-bedroom apartment that overlooked Sunset and Crescent Heights. Like Crescent Heights was right here, and Sunset was right up here, right up on the corner on the left. And we were living there, and like it was all Jews. It was awesome. It was so funny, but like they were strict because Jews are super strict about, and that's when I really learned about how like Jews in California were like, nope, we don't fuck around with stuff. Like you do not play shit. We don't look dirty. You don't look trashy. You don't look like anything like that because we just do not accept that shit. It was awesome. And like you'd always get emails every once in a while saying that, hey guys, just make sure that, like you don't make a lot of noise. Make sure you are good. Make sure you're just like, like they're always sending out these emails saying stuff like that. Like make sure you just don't be a fucking douche. It was an awesome place to live, and I will forever remember that place. And so I was just recently single, and so I was just dating around a lot of different people. I dated a background dancer that was one of the background dancers for Lady Gaga. That was for a while. That's a story within itself too. But this time I was dating this girl from Puerto Rico, and her family was born. Her parents were from there. She was born there, then moved here to go to Santa Monica Community College because it's like one of the best international colleges in the nation, I guess. And like if you go there, like there's a good chance you can go to UCLA. There's a high acceptance rate to like UCLA, all the California schools, and then like USC. And so she was going to school there because she was doing law, and then she was going to eventually move back to Puerto Rico and just do law down there. And so we started dating, and it was really awesome. And like it was so weird is that like, she drove a truck in Los Angeles, which I've always thought was the stupidest thing to do because it's just a very inconvenient vehicle for how much you have to drive because there is no transportation, like public transportation there. It's just dog shit. And like there is a subway, but it only goes from Hollywood to like North Hollywood and to like down to Long Beach, I think. Like it goes nowhere. It doesn't go anywhere else. It doesn't go to the Beverly Hills area. It doesn't go to like Culver City. It doesn't go to like Inglewood. It doesn't go to Crenshaw. It doesn't do any of that stuff. It doesn't go anywhere where like people actually live. in West Hollywood, in California, or Los Angeles. Sorry, I'm telling you all of it. And so we were dating for a while. Had been dating for a while. I'd say about 4 months. And she had a flat tire, and she was parked in the down parking lot and where I was living, because we had an extra spot. So there was only 2 people that was living in the apartment, and then we had 3 parking, there was 3 rooms. We had 3 parking spots for each person. And so she was parked in there, and I was changing her tire, and then I got to the last lug nut, and it was one of the ones that you had a special key to, and you had to unlock that key to be able to take the tire off and then put the new tire on. And so I was like, do you know where it is? And she's like, I don't know where it is. I'm like, why don't you know where this is? And she's like, I don't know. This wasn't my truck before I had this. Whose truck was this? It was my dad. I'm like, okay. I'm like, can you maybe call your dad and see what it is? And she's like, she just kind of stood there for a second. I'm like, you want me to do that? I'm like, please. It would be awesome if you did that. This would be the best time for you to do that. I wouldn't have said that if I didn't want you to call him and see what it is. So she calls her dad, and so every time that she goes hola, and she starts speaking in Spanish. So every time she's talking, she's speaking to him in Spanish, or at least who I thought she was talking to was her dad. And then I was like, do you know where it is? And she's like, I don't know. No one knows where it is. And I'm like, how do you not know? How do you not know what this is? Who it is? It's all right. Does your dad know some place where we could go to get one? We can go and drive. I'll go and we can go and pick one up from a place or something. If there's is it specific, or is it any kind of type? Because I didn't know. I've never had one of these on a car before. I've just always had just the normal lug nuts on them to take it off and put it back on, because I didn't want to deal with an extra part by having to have an extra key to this fucking car. So she was like, well, I don't know. And I'm like, can I just talk to your dad then? Because I was just getting kind of frustrated at this point. You're still young. I was 25 years old. And so I was, come on, can I just, can I talk to him? And so I was on I'm like, please. I'm like, baby, please just let me have the phone, and I'll talk to him, and we'll figure this out. I'll get straight to the point, because I didn't think that maybe she didn't know what to say, and she was speaking in Spanish. I'm sitting there I'm like, are we just what's going on? And because she's looking at me and smiling, and then she'd go back to speaking in Spanish and looking at me and smiling. It's I'm like, okay, we need to figure this out. And so I get the phone, and I'm like, hey sir, I'm like, do you know where the key to the lug nut is? Is it in the is it in the truck, or do you have it? If you have it, can we come and get it? Do we need to come and get it? And I just heard rah rah rah, and I'm like, what? I'm like, sorry, I can't understand what you're saying. And he's like, rah rah rah, and I'm like, still, I'm like, sir, do you have the key to the lug nut thing? Do you have the key to the lug nut thing? And I was like, I'm like, and then the girl that I was dating, she took the phone back and was like, blah, blah, blah. She said something in Spanish, and anyway, so as soon as we got to her house, we ended up I'm like, you know what, let's just go to your place. We'll get it. We'll go to your dad's place, and we'll just figure it out. So we drove 25 minutes outside of Los Angeles to go get it. It was over, God, I want to say Koreatown. I know, but I know it's not in Koreatown, because that's still in Los Angeles. And so we went, and as soon as we parked, her dad was outside. As soon as she went up to her dad, she started speaking to him in sign language. And I'm like, oh, that's great. And the whole time that she was talking to the person on the phone in Spanish, she was talking to her mother, and her mother didn't understand what a key to this lug nut was. She didn't understand what a lug nut was. So that was the whole miscommunication, was that. It wasn't the fact that she was talking to her dad, who was deaf. And then you would think, that someone would have said something to me about, having a deaf father, which I'd never met the man. I didn't know he was deaf. And that night when we were going to bed, after we had gotten the tire changed and everything, I was like, hey honey, I have a quick question for you. Why didn't you tell me that your dad was deaf? And she said verbatim, I swear to God, this is what she said. She's like, well, I saw you kind of struggle, and it was kind of funny. And I was like, okay, that's great. That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. And we ended up dating for a little bit longer. Then she moved back to Puerto Rico, and now she's a lawyer. So it's all fun stuff. It's all good things. And yeah, so I thought that was a really funny story that like I was I was such a fucking moron. I just didn't know this guy was deaf, and I was like yelling. I'm like, why can't you help me? Why can't you help me? It's like, what's the fucking problem? So, and then like what was also funny about that is like when I moved to Kansas City, I was a production coordinator for a company that was based out in Los Angeles, and I was their hub person for the Midwest. So if they had stuff in Omaha, if they had stuff in Kansas, in Arkansas, and Oklahoma, then I would go down there on the weekends for my other job, and I would just coordinate the thing, and I'd just make sure, I'd basically be a wrangler, sign people in, sign people out, like make sure that I have the right address for people so they can go to the right place, like so their checks can go to the right place, that kind of thing. It's just really, really basically just like you're just patting out small fires. And what I was like, the main big thing that I did for them was called Dinner in the Dark. And it was just a bunch of, I guess, rich white people that would come and eat food in the dark and be served by blind people. And the room would be this big banquet hall, and there'd be no lights. I would have to wear a pair of night vision goggles because I was a production coordinator. I had to walk around to make sure everything was going correctly. So if there was a problem at a table, I had to go there and fix that problem. This is all the things you do when you love film and you really just want to make movies. And when I was doing this, walking around, I just saw so many hand jobs. I saw so many blow jobs. I just saw so much fingering, like hands up dresses. It was just and the thing is, the reason why this was, you're like, oh, John, but this is a bunch of rich people. They're probably more sophisticated and everything, but they had been drinking for the last 2 to 3 hours. And so now they're wanting to eat, and they're going to eat in the fucking dark. They're drunk and in the dark. So it was just it was just a big old fuck fest in the sense of like just finger banging and fucking dicks and mouths and hands. And they're just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are we doing, like, I'm like, wow. Like, John, like, I can't believe you do this, and I can't believe you're doing this. But the whole big thing is, like, when I would introduce myself, I'm like, hey, I'm John Clauser, and I'd put my hand out. They're blind, John. Like, they can't see you. They can't see that you're trying to shake their hands. It's like, geez, John. It's like, things have never been easy for me. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else I have to say for you guys. I think that's pretty much it for this week on the podcast. If you haven't yet, please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. I guess I have a minute and a half left I can do. I have a minute left on the camera because it's 27 minutes exactly now. And but yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Also check out my other podcast. And I need to start doing fucking vlogs again because I would love to have a thing come out every day of the week. If I could have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it'd be awesome. And then Saturday and Sunday would be just days of a lot of production. That would be perfect for me to do. But it's just like, God, it's like finding content, especially right now. Like we're in a fucking quarantine. So it's like, I can't really do much of shit. And I'm like just trying to at least pump out 2 things. But the things I'm still pretty lazy with it because I still need to get it on iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff. And when I do that, I promise I will be more active. And I also think too, I should be more active and do like memes and do like stories on Instagram and stuff like that to boost up followers and shit. I don't know, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening to me rant and rave for the last 28 minutes now. Like I said, like, comment, subscribe at John D. Clauser. It's the name on the bottom. It's the exact same thing at that. Just copy and paste that, and you can find me on the search engines, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.